everybody, I am here with my bonus dad. This is Jim. You guys have probably seen him in my videos a bunch. If you hear lots of noise, it's because we have chickens. But we thought it'd be fun to interview Jim. My mom's also, we're going to interview my mom after you, but we thought that we would ask you some fun questions for people that maybe are brand new here and don't know anything about you or even me. Do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you, who you are, your background, and how you have a relationship with us?
Well, I'm Jim Getz. I met Shannon's mom many years ago, about 15 years ago, maybe 16 years ago, something like that.
Wow, been that long?
It has been that long. I will let your mom relate the story of how we
Well, why don't you tell your side of the story, and then we'll let her tell her side, because I think that it's funny to see both of you guys' different perspectives.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Okay, because that's a pretty good,
it's a funny story.
interesting story. To be working down in LA, I was working on the LAX airport at the time. I had an apartment in Santa Monica, and I was walking to dinner one night, and I was just going to get just go out for dinner, and I went standing on the corner of Main Street. And
this was in LA?
This was in Santa Monica.
Okay, so for those of you guys that don't know, that's in California and Los Angeles.
It is.
Yeah.
Apparently your mom drove by, and she was driving with a friend of hers, and they were going to a Lakers event, because they had gotten invited to this Laker event at, if I remember correctly, the Lost Restaurant, the name of the place, and they couldn't find it. So that was pretty appropriate.
That's funny.
They were lost. The restaurant was lost. They happened to be driving by, and your mom mentioned, this is related to me from your mom, that mentioned to her friend that, hey, that guy standing there is pretty cute. Friend says, oh, well, I'll just pull over.
Yeah.
And your mom's like, no, don't be doing that. She says, no, really, just give me your card. I'll walk up to him, and I'll talk to him. And she was like, yeah, okay. They parked the car, and her friend got her business card and came over to me. I happened to be talking on the phone to my sister.
On like a lunch break?
No, I was going to dinner.
Okay.
I was off work.
Okay.
And it was dinner time. It was in the early evening. So this girl comes walking. She's walking like straight at. You know how when people walk straight at you, kind of know that there's an intention there of some kind, right?
So what were you thinking?
I'm like on the phone. I'm thinking she wants directions. I'm a visitor. I'm like, you're not going to be happy with whatever I tell you, because I don't know anything about this place.
Funny.
She came walking up, and she says, hey, my girlfriend thinks you're very cute, and she would like you to give her a call.
Was Celeste listening on the phone?
Celeste was on the phone.
Oh, did she hear it or not?
Actually, I don't think she did, because I told her to hold on, because there was this stranger walking at me.
Right.
So, had to pause for a moment there. Well, okay, that's very nice, That doesn't usually happen, and so I thought that was pretty cool. So, just a side note, for all you girls out there, that is a super good way to meet a guy.
Yeah.
Very low key, just, send your wingman in. That's what a wingman ought to be doing. Yeah. I get this card, they go away. So the next day, at work, I'm thinking, I don't know, do I want to call this person? This could be random. This is pretty random.
Right.
So, well,
and you didn't even see my mom, right? You had no idea what she looked like?
I didn't see her.
Okay.
Now, she thought I looked at her and nodded at. I was talking to my sister.
Oh, okay.
And she thought I saw her in the car going by and nodded at her. I did not do that. I was in my own world.
So you never even saw her. This is like full on like blind date status.
100% blind.
Okay.
So I call her on the phone the next day. Of course, I'm in an office with a bunch of people. I was the program director for the expansion out there. So I had to go find a little quiet place where there wasn't anybody. So I went to the roof of the building. I'm standing on the roof, and I call your mom. And somebody else answered the phone, one of the girls up front.
And they gave you the work number.
The work number, yeah. I got a work number, not a personal number, which was, I don't know, I guess that's pretty smart too.
Yeah.
The girl that gave me the number was there, and she said, hey, he's on the phone.
Oh.
And your mom said, nope, I'm not going to talk to him. Forget that, bad idea. And she goes, no, and handed her the phone, made her talk to me. I didn't know all that. I was just hanging on the phone going, he answers the phone, and I go, hi, how you doing? I'm that guy that was standing on the corner, that your friend said, I should give you a call. So I'm giving you a call. She started giving me like the third degree. She started going over like, oh, okay, well, what were you doing standing on the corner out there, Well, I'm going to dinner, So, well, where do you work? What do you do? What do you drive? Are you married?
Wow. Like a full interview on the phone.
Yeah, I'm like, is this even worth it?
Right.
I mean, you asked me to call you, I'm like, and I thought, well, I don't know. I could have been some troll under a bridge or something. She doesn't know who I am. So I said, okay, whatever. I said, why don't you meet me for coffee? We'll meet for coffee. And I knew this place in Santa Monica, and she knew it too. Really nice place, coffee, tea, cakes. She says, yeah, okay, that's a good idea. We'll do that. And I thought, we could meet. And as she turns out, she's got 2 heads or something like that. I'm in for $1.50. That's all we need to do. We'll move on. So I got there early, and I strategically got the table right next to the door. There's a little patio at this place where the front door is here and the patio sticks out. And I got the chair the table right on the patio where I could see everybody coming and going through the front door. So, that's the only way. And she says, I'll be wearing a red dress. That's how I knew she was going to be her. Saw your mom come up and she had on a blue dress.
A blue dress?
I'm a red dress.
Oh, a red dress. Okay.
With blue eyes.
Okay.
And blonde hair.
Yep.
And a red dress. Well, I hope that girl's looking for me. And sure enough, she's looking around, and I'm like, okay, that's better.
Did you know did you get an idea
I kind of did, because she was looking for somebody. It was,
Okay.
how it's kind of obvious. She's looking for somebody.
So your first impression, what was your first impression?
My first impression was, wow, she's really cute.
Oh.
It's like, she's a really cute girl.
Okay.
I hope this is the one
Right.
that gave me the card, because,
Right.
that would be good.
Yeah.
Could be the other way, but turned out pretty good.
Okay.
So I introduced myself, and we got some coffee or some tea or whatever it is we got. And we sat down and we started talking. One of those things, this was like probably mid-afternoon. And we sat there and we talked for probably a couple of hours.
Are you serious?
And we drank all the tea that they had, and we ate a cake. I don't know, it got to be like 6 or 7 o'clock or something. And I said, well, I've got to get some food, and I don't cook, so I'm going to go. I'm starving.
Yeah.
I said, would you like to go to dinner?
Aww.
So I took your mom to dinner.
Oh, that night you did?
That night.
Oh, wow.
We left the place, and I think she followed me. I don't know. I forget how we got there. But we went to this little steak place that was very close, and then we sat down, and we had dinner together, too. So it became a long evening.
So that blind date from coffee turned into dinner. Wow, and that's where it all started.
And that's where it all started. That's how I met your mom.
Oh, I love that story. Okay, so tell us a little bit. We'll start with childhood. Did you...
Okay. I was born a poor black child.
I was going to say, did you have 2 dads or 2 moms? Or what was your childhood like?
No, it was pretty normal. I grew up in East St. Louis, Illinois, in the Midwest. My parents stayed together the whole time that they were alive. They've both passed now. But we grew up in East St. Louis, and then we moved to a place called Fairview Heights, which was a little bit farther away. East St. Louis is obviously east of St. Louis, but it's in Illinois. St. Louis is in Missouri, and then there's the Mississippi River. On the other side of the river is East St. Louis.
So you actually grew up in Illinois?
In Illinois.
Okay, so for me that's confusing because
It's confusing to a lot of people.
Because I would have thought you grew up in Missouri. So you grew up in Illinois.
Yep, Illinois.
Your parents stayed married the whole time you guys were together?
They did, and I've got 1 brother and 1 sister. I'm the baby. My brother is 1 year older than me, and my sister is 1 year older than him. So we're all 1 year apart in separation.
Wow.
Brother's name is Lee, and my sister's name is Celeste, named after my mom. That was my mom's middle name. Brother is a junior. My dad was named Lee, so he's Lee Jr.
And what was it like growing up? That close in age, that must have been fun.
Yeah, it was pretty, we were our own playmates, probably 90% of the time when we were little. That worked out pretty well. I don't, being older, you go back and you look at that and say, wow, Mom was pregnant for 3 years running. That must have been tough.
You go, girl.
Yeah, it's like, wow, I didn't appreciate the effort there, when you're a kid, you don't know.
Yeah.
You go, wow, okay, that was not easy. They both worked. My dad was a mechanic. My mom worked the books. She did the accounting and the bookkeeping and that for the business.
Oh, nice.
And my dad had his own shop, and he actually had a gas station that had a shop in the back. And as my brother and I got older, we worked in the shop. So like when we were like 10, 11,
Oh, wow.
12. Oh, yeah. We had mom made us shirts with our name on it.
How cute.
And mobile oil on the side, and we would pump gas. That was back in the olden days.
Yeah.
No one was allowed to pump their own gas.
Really?
You might remember. You don't remember that.
Well, no, but...
I'm a dinosaur. So back in the olden days, when dinosaurs roamed the earth and I was young, you had to actually get out and walk out, ask the people how much gas they wanted, and then when you filled up the gas tank, first you had to find the gas tank. Only
they wouldn't tell you?
Old people will be the only ones that understand it. On old cars, they used to put the gas tank like behind the license plate. They would put it behind the backup light. You had to find where this was. So it wasn't like as straightforward as it is today. And then of course you checked out the tire pressure, the water, the oil, all that when you got gas and you washed the windshield. So the customer never got out of his car. So that's too bad, isn't it, that changed?
Yeah.
Yeah, but because now nobody does any of that stuff for you. You got to go get your oil changed before they check your tire. My brother and I, when we were little kids, would work at the shop.
When you were 10, you didn't have to have permits then?
No. Well, we didn't get paid.
Oh,
so nobody knew we were working.
That's child labor. Or what?
Yeah. It was more like babysitting because, it's like, oh, make them kids go do something.
Right.
And so, we'd go arrange the parts room and we'd go clean the bathrooms and we'd have, there was a little coffee area for the guys that worked there. We had to go clean that up, make coffee for them. So.
Was this after school?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We were like the maintenance crew.
Wow.
And then as we got older, we were able to work on the car. We helped my dad in the shop.
Wow. So you must know a lot about cars then and like fixing cars.
I know about those cars back then, before you needed a computer to work on cars.
Right.
You know, where you could actually work on the cars. Nowadays it's so electronic, I don't know, I can't, A
lot of my audience knows me for my storytime videos, so I figured it'd be fun. Oh, thank you.
I watch them all the time.
I thought it'd be fun for you to tell us a little story time video, or I think it would be fun if you told us a little story time, maybe about like your craziest night in, when you were a teenager in high school. Do you have like a crazy teenage high school story time for us that you want to share?
Let's see.
You have some good crazy stories. What about college? Let's do college. You have a good crazy college story? I know you do because I've heard them.
Just went on and on and on and on.
You have a lot of them.
I couldn't decide whether it was the getting arrested, the rolling the car, or the incident. So we'll go with, college? You want to do college?
Let's do college,
okay, we'll do college.
Because I know you have good college
I'll bring that one up because I've already been to jail for that one. It was spring break, and let's see, I think it was my second year. No, I think it was the first year of college. I just finished my first year in Monmouth College. I went to a couple of different colleges. So Monmouth College in Monmouth, Illinois. And I pledged a fraternity. I'm an ATO. Go Alpha Tau Omega. All of my fraternity brothers and I decided we all road tripped to Florida. Florida was kind of the place to go. We all decided to go road trip for our spring break to Florida.
Your fraternity?
My fraternity.
Okay.
Yeah, ATO fraternity. We decided we're going to go down to Daytona Beach. That was kind of like the place to go. So we got a couple of cars and we got a whole bunch of guys. We road tripped down there. We got to Daytona and we were partying. There's like 6 or 8 or 9 of us all in one room. You know how you do when you're in college. You don't have any money. So you're just kind of, it's all about, just having beer and more beer. That was kind of like, as it happened, my brother lived in Orlando, which was not too far away. Mm-hmm. And he had moved down there and was working. I called him on the phone. I said, hey, what are you doing? I'm down here in Florida. He says, oh my gosh, what? I'll come by. Because he knows some of the guys too.
Okay.
So he's going to come over to Daytona and visit and hang out. So he comes over to Daytona and he's hanging out with us. And he says, well, I got to go back. He says, why don't you come back with me and spend the night with me? And then we'll go, bring you back and you can hook back up with the guys and finish the rest of the trip. I said, okay, that's fine. So that night we go out, we go to Orlando and we decided to go out to some bars. So we go out to some bars and we're running around, drinking and just having a great time doing all that kind of stuff. And it gets to be pretty late at night and he's driving a van. We ran into these guys at this bar that were looking for trouble,
This is where it gets good.
They were just rowdy. Guys and we had already been drinking and so, we weren't making good decisions. We got in a fight with these guys at the bar.
Oh no.
And we got thrown out of the bar. It was a literal fist fight,
wow.
But lucky, not like today. Nobody shot each other. It was just beating each other up. We get thrown out of the bar, and of course, they got thrown out of the bar. So we're all yelling and screaming at each other in the parking lot, having the time of our lives. And so we hop in his van, and we had one other friend that was down visiting with him, and so the 3 of us got in the van, and we take off, and we're driving to the next bar because I think we're going to Senor Frogs or something like that. And we watched this car was following us, and we thought maybe it was these guys that we had a little bit of a run-in with. My brother makes a couple of turns, and that doggone car made a couple of turns, and we thought, okay, they're definitely following. So let's just pull over and see who they are, and if we got to fight them, well, whatever. Like I said, we weren't making really good decisions.
Right.
So we pull over, and before we were able to pile out of the van, these 2 guys come up. They're undercover cops. They're detectives. My brother, I don't know, I couldn't tell, but he must have been weaving and driving bad and poorly or something like that. They give him a sobriety test, and of course they go through the van because it smelled funny, and so they looked for debris in the van, and they found some. And they were like, okay, all 3 of you guys are busted.
Oh, no.
So
Wait, all 3? Who else was with you?
My brother's friend who came down to visit him in Orlando. So the 3 of us all went to the pokey. And,
What's a pokey?
Oh, that's a police station.
Oh, okay.
So we went down, they arrested us, took us down to the station. And when they arrested us, they put the handcuffs behind you.
Okay.
And my brother doesn't look anything like me. My brother was 6'2", 225 pounds, a big guy.
Yeah, wow.
And the guy, his buddy was a big guy. So I'm in the middle of these 2, and they're both big guys. So, like, my wrists are just so tight. So I was a pretty flexible guy. So I brought my handcuffs around to the front.
Oh my gosh.
While in the back of the police car.
Oh, in the police car?
In the police car.
Oh my gosh. They didn't seatbelt you in? Did they have seatbelts back then?
You know what? I don't know. I don't think they did.
Wow.
I think they just shoved us in there. Wow. It was in the cage, you were the little cagey thing around there. So apparently they didn't, because I was able to do that. And then when we got out of the police car, they noticed that my hands were in front of me and everybody else was back of them. That's not how they started.
Right.
So they were like, oh, smart ass, huh?
Oh, no.
And he shoves me. The police shoved me. They shoved me up against a wall. Yeah, and my hands were hurting, and I just, I could, so I did.
Yeah.
And they did not think that was funny at all. They did not appreciate that. And so when they put us in the elevator, they had an elevator that you had to go up to the booking floor.
Okay.
And so there's a cage door.
Okay.
And like all the bad boys shoved into this little cage, and they locked the door in the elevator, and then you go up and they unlock it.
Okay.
So when they unlocked it, I pushed the cop back because he was in my way getting out of the door. And it was kind of like a little tete-a-tete
right.
for what he did to me. And he didn't appreciate that either. So he pushed me and I fell down. It was my own fault. I was just probably not making good decisions.
Right.
They arrested us and they took us and they put us in jail. So we spent a couple of nights in jail before we were able to get...
Wait, did you call your parents? Did you tell your parents?
Oh, gosh, no.
Oh, so you were so scared, you were like, no way?
No way. I wasn't going to do that. And I didn't have any money. I was like, I didn't know what I was going to do.
Don't you call a girlfriend or a parent or an aunt to be like, I'm in jail, can you bail me out? Or was that not a thing?
That was not going to be a thing. I was not going to ask for help.
So you'd rather spend the night in jail?
It was my own I did this to myself.
Okay.
I didn't need to get anybody else involved in it, so I was just going to take the beating or whatever it turned out to be.
What was it like in jail?
They locked us up with a bunch of other guys. It was like you see on TV. It was the drunk tank kind of things, like a big room with 20 guys in it.
Yeah.
And half of them are drunk, and just don't know.
Was it scary, or were you so drunk you didn't care, and you were there with your friends and your brother?
Nobody tried anything. It wasn't prison.
Right.
It was jail.
Right.
So. It was just a bunch of guys waiting to, there were some guys there that, there was some B&Es and some grand thefts and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. We're all just in the same room. That's where you get started. So that was an interesting time. But while I was in there, my friends, my fraternity brothers had to leave.
Did they know you were in jail?
No, they didn't know where I was.
They just were like, what happened to Jim?
They were like,
where did Jim go?
They were like, well, let's get in the car.
Oh, no.
Where's Jim?
They left you.
They left me.
Oh, my gosh.
They left me. They had to get back to class. Apparently, I wasn't that interested in class in that particular year. And they must have figured out, he'll figure it out.
So once you got back.
They went back to Illinois.
So once you got back, did you tell them, what's up, guys? You left me and I was in jail?
I was so mad. I was so mad at those guys that they, I don't know what they were supposed to do.
Right.
But, I was like, oh man, can't believe you left me, We got out of jail, and I actually borrowed some money from my brother's girlfriend to get enough money to get back to Illinois, and then I had to pay her back. Yeah, when I got back to campus and I got back to the fraternity house, man, I read them the riot act. I was like, what? And
were they shocked that you ended up in jail?
They were a little surprised. That's what happened. They thought I was just hanging out with my brother doing, I don't know, whatever. Just hanging out at the house kind of thing. And I recently, just this past couple of months, I had a reunion with my fraternity brothers.
Oh, yeah.
Back in Monmouth, Illinois. Surprisingly, a lot of them remembered that, and several of them felt bad about it. They came and said, man, I'm so sorry we left you in Florida. I was like, well, you know what, it was a good learning experience, and let me tell you, you grow up.
Yeah.
You grow up right away. So, so that was a fun one.
That's a good story. I have always told Jim that I think that he was secretly in the CIA. and that he denies. Were you in the CIA?
My work has taken me all over the world. I worked in Taipei, I worked in New Delhi, I've worked all over the place. Program director for aviation expansion programs. Airports all over the place. So there's a lot of opportunity to see a lot of the world. Did make an application to the CIA years ago, and found that whole process was very interesting.
Yeah.
And it was pretty good stuff.
I feel like that's a whole video on its own, like what that was like.
Yeah.
Like the
I can tell
interview
you,
process.
Yep, that's true. It's different than what I thought it was. But yeah, I'm currently not in the CIA.
You're retired now.
I'm retired from everything.
Okay, so if you were to tell us, what would be your proudest moment?
Well, you know, I guess outside of having my kids, it's a very proud day when you have your kids. And I had 4 kids. I had 4 super special days. Were pretty fantastic. Been married before I married your mom.
Right.
And I had 4 kids, and your mom had 2. So, you know, together we've got 6.
Yep.
Very nice and large family. In addition to those days, for myself, I guess, to take the question that way, what I might be proudest of, my own accomplishment personally, is graduating from college, because I did not have the scholarships and the funding and the money and all that kind of stuff. So I worked very hard to get through school, and I held 4 jobs to pay for college, and I support myself and my apartment and stuff when I was going to school. So it was, you know, it was pretty challenging. It was a pretty proud day when I was able to pull my diploma, walk across that stage, and go, all right, yeah, did it.
Yeah, all by yourself.
So, yeah, that was a heck of a good accomplishment for myself.
Wow, 4 jobs. That's impressive.
Yeah, I worked in several different things. I worked for UPS. I worked in a restaurant. I worked washing trucks. I worked for a waterproofing company designing waterproofing systems. So, yeah, I was a busy boy.
I guess that, like, for me, when I hear that, I think no excuses, right? Like, I feel like a lot of people will make excuses on, like, why they can't do something, like, oh, I can't afford it, or, you know, I have to, you know, work 2 jobs and I don't have time to do this. But, like, you had 4 jobs and went to school, and, like, you know, if you really want to do something, you'll find a way to make it work. So that's awesome. And
That's
then
right.
I guess that will lead us with, what do you think is the biggest life lesson that you've learned in your life that you would want to share with others watching right now?
It's interesting. I've been poor and had no money, and I've had some money. Everybody always wants what you have when you have something. Your mom and I was talking about that the other day, and I couched it to her. Everybody wants the view, but nobody wants to do the climb.
Right, true.
And that's what gets you there. Life lesson wise, tenacity will make you successful. It's not your education. It's not that you're number 1 in the class. Not that you have the most money. It's not that you're the best looking person. None of that stuff outdoes tenacity. When you get knocked down, you get up and you keep going.
Yep.
And you keep going. And you keep going.
So
And
never
that's-
giving up.
Never giving up. And value yourself. Don't worry about what other people think about you. Value yourself. And put yourself in the best possible position for good things to happen to you. And good things will happen to you.
I love that. Well, thank you so much. Or is there any last words or anything else that you want to say before we wrap up our interview?
Other than I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
And really all of my kids. And you are my kid. And Brittany both. It's just a ton of fun seeing you grow up, seeing your family develop, and seeing you develop as a woman, and most impressively a mom.
Aw, thank you. That's so sweet. Love you.
Love you.
All right. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I'm sending you all my love, all my positive energy, and I hope to see you in my next video. Mwah.